Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope everybody had a great day. I am currently in Wyoming. This morning I was hiking the Grand Tetons with one of my friends, but he drove back to Denver today, so I decided to come to this mountain range about 50 miles east of there. There are millions of bugs out here. It's disgusting. But anyway, today we are going to be talking about photo settings for your DJI Mavic Air 2. So with the Mavic Air 2, DJI has released a ton of new photo modes and different settings, and especially with the 48 megapixel sensor, they have just beefed this thing up like crazy. But these are the settings that I use to get the highest quality images possible. So let's get into it. All right, so before we even take off, I just want to point out one of the biggest things is shooting in M mode. And on the bottom right-hand screen, you'll see it says auto. If you just tap that, it'll change it to manual mode where you can manually change your settings and ultimately get better photos from that. And then just to change your settings, just to go through this real quick, you just need to tap on that actual shutter button, and then you can scroll down. As you can see, a lower shutter speed is going to make it a brighter image, and then higher is going to make it darker. And then ISO is just going to make it way brighter. So I always try to stick at 100 with the Mavic Air 2, just because around 400 it starts to get a little bit more grainy, and you really don't want that in your photos. So I always try to stick with the lowest ISO possible, and that just goes with like filmmaking, photography, pretty much everything. So just always stick with the low ISO. Shutter, I'm just gonna match it to whatever the environment is. So I'm thinking like maybe I'll do 1/100 right now, and I'm actually in record mode right now. So on the controller I can just push this button and it'll switch right over. And then we're also gonna go over the settings on this top right 3 dots that you see. So just click on that. The rest of these settings we won't really get into in this video because it has nothing to do with like your photos or anything. So we're just gonna go straight into camera, and as you can see at the top, for format we're gonna go with JPEG and RAW. RAW images are always gonna have more information, more metadata, and they're always gonna be better to edit, and you're always gonna get a better image when editing them. So always make sure you're shooting in RAW. Size, I do 16 by 9, but in just a second we're gonna switch over to 48 megapixel photos, and it's automatically gonna crop those at 4/3. Which is kind of weird, and I'm not a huge fan that it does that, but I think just in order to get as much information as possible in the photo, it needs to do that crop. Down here I have all these turned off. Grid lines, as you can see, I have diagonal and the crossbars, just so I can frame my photos a little bit better. I can get rule of thirds, and then also I know exactly where my center point is in the frame. White balance I have set to auto right now, but I do sometimes change that to manual. But for you guys, I would just say stick to auto. We're gonna get back to this screen, and then from here, we are going to change it to 48 megapixels. So we're gonna tap this rectangle on the right side of the screen right here. And then right below single, you see 48 megapixels. So that is going to be the sharpest image that this camera takes. As I said earlier, it crops to 4/3, which kind of sucks, but you just kind of have to deal with it. But as you can see, it actually makes the photo a little bit wider. So as opposed to single, the photo actually changes the composition a little bit. Yeah, and so once you have 48 megapixels selected, that's going to be your sharpest image. As far as the rest of these settings go, you don't really need to worry about them much. They are pretty much just like fun little tools to play around with. Like for example, the panorama modes. You can do vertical photos, you can do like a full panorama, or you could do like 360 photos, you can do all that stuff. And honestly, I kind of want to make a video just covering like all the different types of panoramas that you can do for the Mavic Air 2. So if you guys want to see that video, just please feel free to leave a comment and just let me know, and I'll definitely make that video. So, but as far as like the best quality photos, those are the settings you're going to want to have on, and yeah, from there it's just taking photos. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for settings. It's really quick and easy. There's really not much to it. Definitely go out and try these settings out. You'll definitely have the sharpest images possible. I used to have just the Mavic Pro like 1. I had the Platinum, and they're honestly about the same price range right now as far as like the Fly More combos go, which is crazy because this is like a way better drone, like absolutely way better. I used the Mavic Pro Platinum for I think like a year and a half maybe, and I can just tell you right now, the specs on this thing and the photos that you can take on this thing are so much better. And the fact that it has 4K 60 and like all these other built-in things, it's just like crazy. So I think this is like a way better drone. I think it's honestly comparable to the Mavic Pro 2, which is like $500 or $600 more expensive than it. I'm really happy with the price range that DJI decided on, and I'm really happy with like this drone in general. I think we're just gonna end the video there. Enjoy this cinematic footage, and I will see you in the next video. Talk to you later, guys.